Now the physical geology. Wow, wow, what we have to study, what we have to study in physical geology. Understanding the composition of the earth and different type of features of earth, such as mountains, plateaus, valleys, rivers, coastlines, and lakes, glaciers, and volcanoes in terms of their origin and development. These and the different changes occurring on the earth's surface, like marine transgression and regression and marine regression, formation or disappearance disappearance of rivers, springs, and lakes. Geological work of rivers, such as like groundwater, wind, glaciers, and oceans, in constantly molding the Earth's surface features and natural phenomena like weathering, landslides, and earthquakes. These are all we study in physical geology. And the next one is the mineralogy. This branch of study deals with the minerals are the basic units with which different rocks and ores of the earth are made up of. For example, details like properties, composition, formation, uses, occurrence, association, etc. of minerals from the subject matter of mineralogy. And knowledge in mineralogy is necessary for a civil engineer because the properties of rocks to a large extent are dependent on the properties and composition of their constitution minerals. For example, sometimes quartzite and marble resemble each other in shine, color, and appearance, but quartzite, by virtue of its mineral composition, is very hard, so strong and durable, while marble disintegrates and decomposes in a shorter period because of its mineral composition and properties. That's why mineralogy is the most important to understanding the minerals uh, as a civil engineer when he find out the different type of bedrocks. Here petrology, unlike petrology deals with the study of the rocks. Actually, the earth's crust is made up of different type of rocks. It deals with the types, composition, structure, texture, mode of formation, occurrence, origin, and different type of rocks. Rocks fall into three major types: igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks, and metamorphic rocks. Each type is distinct to with unique characteristics. But in next class, I will clearly explain what is igneous rocks and the importance, and sedimentary rocks and their importance, and metamorphic rocks and in their importance. These three type of rocks are the basic importance in civil engineering. Every civil engineer must they he should know about the different type of rocks. But I will explain clearly these three type of rocks in next class. But here only I explain the just different branches in geology. And also here just a petrology. Actually, petrology deals with the study of rocks. The earth crust is made up of different type of rocks. And here just clearly I will give some example. Igneous rocks means they are also known as a primary rocks because these rocks these rocks the first formed rocks. These rocks form these rocks form from magma, the molten rock material. These are crystalline in nature and hard. The most common rocks like granite and basalts belong to this category. And sedimentary rocks, as the name indicates, these rocks form from sediment. These are also known as the secondary rocks because these form of the material derived from the pre-existing rocks. These are usually layered and not so hard as the other layers of rocks. Sandstone is the common example of the sedimentary rocks. And metamorphic rocks. Here, just these are formed by the metamorphosis of the existing rocks. When the pre-existing rocks of any kind are put into different amounts of pressure and temperature, they undergo metamorphism with a change in the mineralogical or chemical or both changes. These are generally banded. Phyllite is a common example. The composition and textural characteristics of rocks primarily contribute to their inherent strength and durability. Rocks based on their suitability can be used as foundation for big structures like dams, reservoirs, and bridges, and for tunneling, and as materials construction. Hence, this is the most important branch of geology from the civil engineering point of view. And now, structural geology. Structural geology means actually just rocks undergo deformation and dislocation under the influence of disturbing forces in the earth's crust. The result is the occurrence of different geological structures like folds and joints, faults, etc. in rocks. These structures contribute to architecture in the crustal rocks. Such structures are well displayed in sedimentary rocks and their metamorphic equivalences because they inherently possess foliation and bedding. Actually, just foliation and bedding as the examples to identify the metamorphic rocks. Details of mode of formation, causes, types, classification, significance, etc. Of these geological structures from the subject. Next, historical geology. So, what is historical geology? It has the another name is called as stratigraphy. Actually, historical geology is also called the stratigraphy. Strata means a set of sedimentary rock layers. Graphy means a description. So, because this subject deals with the details and the description of layered sedimentary rock sequences, sediment which is eroded and transported by different surface processes deposited as layers in depressions on the earth surface known as the basins. These sediment layers later give rise to layered rock known as the sedimentary rocks. This sequence presents a chronological order. These strata also represents the history during which they formed. Proper investigations of these rocks reveal the chronological sequence of formation of rocks and climatic conditions prevailing at those times. In addition, geographical changes, including tectonic events in the geological past, can also be known from these investigations. Older rocks are in general more stable and more competent due to more compaction and cementation. This kind of study of the earth history through the sedimentary rock is called the historical geology. This subject is not very relevant to civil engineering and has more importance in petroleum exploration, but just it is a one of the branch in geology. That's why you need to know here and learn something. And paleontology. Actually, paleontology has more importance in petroleum exploration, but here paleontology is the study of fossils. If under favorable conditions, animals, plants, or their parts get embedded in sediments, they will be preserved partially or completely. Such relics and remnants of the ancient life preserved in rocks by natural process are unknown as fossils. This study is an important as stratigraphy from the civil engineering point of view, but very important in petroleum exploration. Now we are jumping into the next branch, economic geology. Economic geology is the study of properties, classification, uses, mode of formation, concentration, examples of minerals. Minerals can be grouped in general as rock forming minerals and economic minerals. Some of the economic minerals like talc, graphite, mica, asbestos, gypsum, magnetite, barytes, diamond, and gems are useful as such are as raw materials in different industries. Some others like hematite, chromite, galena, and bauxite are used as ores for the extraction of various metals. The prosperity of a nation depends to a large extent on the rich reserves of economic mineral deposits. It has, for example, Gulf countries are rich because of their oil deposits. South Africa is rich because of its gold and diamond deposits. This branch of geology very important by virtue of its economic importance, is not relevant for civil engineers for obvious reasons. And now here we completed the main branches of the geology, and again here I repeat it, please listen carefully. The main branches of geology: physical geology, mineralogy, petrology, metamorphic rocks, structural geology, historical geology, paleontology, economic geology. These are the main branches of the geology. Now we are jumping to the allied branches. Allied branches: each of the following branches dealing with a specific subject matter is connected to the main branches of geology proper. Further, based on the application of geological knowledge in other fields, there are many other allied branches. Some of them are described here. The first one is the engineering geology. Actually, this you are studying also engineering geology, but in point of view geology, engineering geology is the one of the subject. But here we have to apply geological knowledge to the constructions or civil engineers. That's why we have to call as engineering geology. Now, this deals with the application of geological knowledge in the field of civil engineering for execution of projects such as like dams, bridges, and tunnels. Knowledge of engineering geology is essential to ensure safety, the expected life, stability, and economic viability of the project. This is the branch with which the civil engineers are most concerned, and it will be dealt within the detail in other chapters. Now we are jumping into the mining geology. Here, this branch deals with the application of geological knowledge in the field of mining. A mining engineer is interested in the mode and extent of occurrence of ores, their association, estimation of ore reserves, etc. It is also necessary to know other physical parameters like depth, direction, and the direction means like we have to calculate as a strike, and inclination is the dip. Strike means it's a horizontal line, dip means it's a perpendicular to the strike, and thickness of ore bodies for efficient mining. Such details of mineral exploration, estimation, and and exploitation are dealt with in mining geology. The importance of geology in mining may be cited with the following example. Sometimes the lodes or seams of economic minerals suddenly get terminated. This may happen due to either natural limit of the ore body or faulting. Geological studies solve this problem, and if it is due to faulting, the continuity can be traced by ascertaining the direction and extent of displacement caused by the faulting. And this is also we studied in the structural geology. Now the geological knowledge helps in planning the method of mining or quarrying a deposit in an efficient way. Now next branch is marine geology. This branch of geology deals with the study of oceans, ocean floor, marine environments, and the sedimentation and process of formation of beaches and coasts. It is also concerned with continental shelves where placer deposits like gold and diamonds are concentrated, continental slopes and margins where hydrocarbon deposits are found, and deep ocean basins where multi-metallic nodules occur. So the main importance of marine geology is easily we can discriminate the age between the ocean floor and crustal floor. But according to scientific studies, ocean floor is the very younger than the crustal floor. So that is the one of the important. Now we are coming to the geophysics. Now geophysics, the study of physical properties like gravity, resistivity, radioactivity, and magnetism of the subsurface layers of Earth. To understand their nature forms the subject matter of geophysics. So simply just we are using geophysics, some resistivity methods, some seismic reflections, some gravity methods is there. But geophysics, it act as a, it can provide us indirect evidences to identify the subsurface lithology something. So geophysics always it will provide indirect effects. but it's not directly affect. So, but if we know that the direct geological formations, drilling method is the only solution. So again, I will tell you, geophysics is the indirect. It will provide us indirect lithological evidences according subsurface lithology. Here, um, like okay, geophysics deals with the study of upper layers of the earth's crust in order to solve some civil engineering problems, locate groundwater, locate oil and gas deposits, and explore and estimate the ore deposits beneath the earth. There are different types of geophysical investigations like electrical methods, gravity methods, seismic methods, and magnetic methods. Since these are quickly and easily done on the surface, large areas can be investigated economically in shorter time. Here I will explain clearly. Gravity methods, it will useful to identify the hematite and iron ore minerals. Seismic methods are useful to identify the oil and gas deposits where underneath the earth. And magnetic methods also used in depositions of the hematite and galena minerals. Here, electrical methods are used mostly in identification of the groundwaters. Now, engineering geophysics is a branch of exploration geophysics which aims at solving civil engineering problems by interpreting subsurface geology of the areas concerned. Geophysical investigations are very useful to help solve foundation problems, alignment of structures, leakage problems along canals, locating building materials like stones where they are not available on the surface. And electrical resistivity method and seismic refraction methods are commonly used in solving civil engineering problems. Now, geochemistry. What does this geochemistry? This branch is relatively more recent and deals with the occurrence, distribution, abundance, mobility of different elements on the surface and in subsurface of the earth. It is not relevant from the civil engineering point of view, but is just slightly useful in civil engineering. Next, hydrogeology. This may also be called as geohydrology. It deals with occurrence, movement, and nature of groundwater in an area, including the quality and quantity. It has applied importance because groundwater has many advantages over surface water. This branch is closely related to geology because the very existence and movement of groundwater are directly related to porosity, permeability, structure, texture, and composition of the surface and subsurface rocks. The depth of water table in connection with foundations is a concern for the civil engineers. In general, geological and geophysical studies are taken up together for groundwater investigations. The last allied the topic is photogeology and remote sensing. So what is photogeology? What is remote sensing? What is the use of photogeology and remote sensing in civil engineering? Now, photogeology or aerial photography is defined as the science of making photographs from the air for studying the surface of the earth. The main uses of photographers are their sorry photographers are their pictorial presentation. In the preparation of the base maps, stereoscopic representations, and photo interpretation and photogrammetric surveys, the immense wealth of information recorded on the aerial photographs is being made use of increasingly in economizing and expediting the natural resources. Surveys in the field of geology, study of soils, land use, environmental studies, studies of vegetation over agriculture, civil engineering, and town planning. Remote sensing may be defined as acquisition of physical data of an object from a distance without touching or securing an actual contact. The information, the formation of an image on the retina of a human eye is a common example of remote sensing. The eye collects information from only a part of the electromagnetic radiation or visible light reflected from the external objectives. There is much more information in the other ranges of the electromagnetic spectrum. Remote sensing makes use of the total electromagnetic spectrum. In modern remote sensing, the information given by the objectives over a wide range of electromagnetic spectrum is captured by what are known as remote sensors, and this information is read and interpreted to understand the objectives of interest. Aerial photographs or satellite imageries find wide application not only in geological surveys and mineral exploration, but also in various other disciplines like agriculture, forestry, hydrology, and cadastral surveys, because they provide a wealth of information at low cost in the shortest possible time. In recent times, they have made phenomenal contribution to environmental monitoring, weather forecasting, flood warning, and a host of other devices fields. Here, the finally geology is the science that deals with the earth, its history, its composition and internal structure, and its surface features. Like any science, geology is made into several main branches like general geology, historical geology, mineralogy, petrology. The applied branches of geology are subjects such as engineering geology, hydrogeology, mining geology. The engineering geologist, when he makes the geological investigations as part of any project, has to take the least some of these subjects into consideration depending on the type of project. Guys, just in this class, I explained what is the geology and the main branches and allied branches. Now here I will explain. So these are the, up to now we know just what is the branches, what is the allied branches, and what is the main branch of geology. Now here I explain what is the importance of geology and why we have to study uh, a geology in civil engineering. Next, here, just here I listed some failure of engineering structures in case studies. But before going to deal these case studies, just what does do a engineering geologist related to civil engineering, I will explain clearly. Behind the success of every civil engineering project, be it a dam, an aqueduct, or a bridge, or a tunnel, or a tube railway, like geological investigations, many successful structures bear mute testimony to the importance of the assistance that civil engineers obtain from geology specialists. Many of the recorded project failures in history are a direct or indirect consequences of ignoring the significance of geology. The concern of a civil engineer is the safety, stability, economy, and life of the project he undertakes. The projects designed by the civil engineer are supported by, are located on the geological foundations on the Earth's crust. But geology is the name given to the wide spectrum of significance inquiries dealing with the materials and the structures of these foundations. Through the geology stands on par with the parallel disciplines like physics, mathematics, etc. It is a relation to civil engineering. There is a difference between them. While mathematical and physical methods are directly used by the engineer in designing work, but geology is not directly used. The findings of geology are applied to specific problems of the engineer. In the case of construction of a project, it is the task of the engineering geologist to specify the probable difficulties, and it is the task of the engineer to overcome them. Another significant differences is that the problems encountered by a geologist in any location are purely local and cannot be uh, cannot be duplicated. As all civil engineering projects have their foundations on geological rock formations on the Earth's surface, the study of the nature of these rock formations is vital. A project on an adverse geological foundation is a failure even if it is executed by a first class firms under the supervision of qualified engineers with high technical competence. Therefore, the stability and safety of a project depend on the suitability or competence of in situ foundation rocks. If such competent foundation rocks are at shallow depth below the overburden, it is economical. Furthermore, for huge constructions like dams, materials in large quantities must be available close to the site. Otherwise, the cost of construction increases. These critical details of engineering importance, competence of foundation of rocks, their depth of occurrence, safety and stability of the project, and availability of building material close to the project size fall in the realm of geological and geophysical studies. The study and interpretation of geological maps and aerial photographs and mapping in the project area are other important aspects of engineering geology. Geological maps of different scales are used at different phases of geotechnical study. These maps are used to present geotechnical information for land use and planning. They provide data on the characteristics of soils and subsoil of specific areas, based on the which one can estimate their behavior and forecast geotechnical problems. They are useful for engineering geological ground evaluation and characterization. At the same time, while the project is in progress, mapping is to be done at a different scales, not only to depict the rock units and structures, but to indicate the details like locations of borehole, trail pits, sampling, and areas identified for ground improvement. The application of results of these scientific studies to engineering practice is known as a engineering geology. So that is the engineering geology is the most important. Next, here, like the scope of geology in civil engineering, such as like big projects like dams, reservoirs, aqueducts, tunnels and tube railways, highways, bridges, railroads and airports, power plants, water treatment plants, pipelines and sewage treatment plants, military installations, wetland and habitat reclamation programs, harbor, pier and waterfront development, coastal engineering and restoration of beaches and sea cliffs, industrial, commercial, and residential development, estimation of slope stability, possible landslides, mitigation of geohazards such as earthquake, landslides, etc. These are all the scope of geology in civil engineering. So, just before constructing a structure, we need to take these all things. Next, what is the role of a engineering geologist? Here, engineering geologists are initially trained after their undergraduate or graduate education, which is primarily in geology. The background in geology provides the engineering geologist with an understanding of how the soil of a region behaves, which is crucial in solving earth-related problems and sometimes mitigating hazards. The job of an engineering geologist demands expertise and requires sound training. Sometimes a number of engineering geologists work together as a team. It is often difficult to interpret and sometimes to acquire geological data. So the civil engineer has to depend on the engineering geologist for geological interpretations. It is the responsibility of the engineering geologist to interpret geologic data and provide a conceptual model representing the morphology and geologic classification of the rock units. If it is confined to a single decided project during the planning stage. If the project has different options, the primary purpose of engineering geology study is to give a comparative evaluation of all the options and to develop a ranked list of options from which one we will be confirmed. This can be accomplished only if sufficient information, including geologic data, about each option is available to support a reasonably close cost estimate. Then the engineer evaluates these data which respect to the engineering requirements. Later, he makes a design and engineering appraisals on his own. During the construction stage, say of a tunnel, also the engineering geologist is needed to classify the materials actually encountered at every stage with respect to selection of design, type or construction procedures. And engineering geology studies are carried out before planning to assess the environmental impact, during the planning phase to prepare civil or structural engineering design projects, and during post-construction and forensic phases of projects. The role of engineering geology in civil engineering is to indicate in advance the existing drawbacks, if any of the sites, so that suitable precautionary steps can be taken to overcome them. It is not that geological conditions are adverse everywhere, though in practice ideal sites are rare. Failures of various earlier structures due to different geological causes have now made it mandatory to have geological clearance before taking major constructions. This will ensure risk-free investment of the energy, money and time. It is also the principal objective of the engineering geologist to protect the life and the property against damage caused by the advanced geologic conditions. Here, the solving these all problems, large organizations usually assign geological work to a staff engineering geologist. In India, the GSI means Geological Survey of India, as an engineering geology wing to look after the engineering needs of any big government or private project in the country. Likewise, US Bureau of Reclamation or US Army Corps of Engineers as a staff of its own engineering geologist. But in a small organization, it is not unusual for the engineering staff to perform some of the functions. With the advice of consultant or an in-house expert, the objective of this course, however, it is not to transform the civil engineering students into the expert engineering geologists. It is intended only to give them an appreciation of the relevance and importance of geologic observations and interpretations. Now, here failure of the failure of the engineering structure, some of case studies. Let us now look at some of the consequences of ignoring geology in civil constructions. Leggett and Hathaway in 1888 described the main reasons for failure of structures as defective foundations, bed conditions. This cause of the failure is essential in geological. Actually, before constructing a foundation, some geological investigations are needed to identify is it good or bad. But in this case, many geological conditions not taken before conducting the projects. Failures to provide adequate spillway capacity. Spillway capacity is determined mainly from anticipated runoff from the catchment areas, which is torn in influenced considerably by geological conditions. And H. Lapworth mentioned over 100 dam failures between 1864 and 1876 due to undermining the water bearing beds below the dam foundation. J.D. Justin detailed over 60 failure of earth dams between 1869 and 1999, Leggett and Hathaway in 1988. A few case studies are given here to indicate that serious consequences that are likely to result if proper attention is not paid to the geological conditions prevailing at the project site. Geological studies at the project site also suggest which kind of design is suitable in a given geological context. For example, gravity dam needs very strong and competent foundation rocks, but better strong, relatively less strong foundation rocks are enough. Arc dam needs a very strong and stable abutment rocks, and for earth dams, even weak foundation rocks would meet the requirements. Now, in our next class, I will give you some few examples for examples of railway constructions, bridges, dams, reservoirs, which were the failed due to the not taking the geological investigations in our next class. Thank you, guys.